to the school committee meeting of June 4th, 2024. Before I ask for your approval of the agenda, I am going to ask your permission, please, to move the technology update up to following the high school student presentation, because we have somebody that has to catch the vote. And so if I may make that change, and may I have an approval of the agenda?
So moved. Second.
Thank you. Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you. Well, welcome everybody. It's nice to see some new faces here tonight. I will start with public comment. If there's anyone here, great. If you would come up and just give your name, Diane, please. Hi, welcome.
Diane Flaherty, and I have a question. How do I go about putting something on the agenda, an upcoming agenda, or how do you select things to go on the agenda?
So for the purpose for tonight, it's a public comment, so you
Okay.
can make a comment, and if
Okay.
it's something that the committee determines should go on an agenda item,
Okay.
then we would make that. You could also email the superintendent and myself to say, I would like to have this for consideration for
Okay.
an agenda item.
Okay, because last time I was confused about how I got something on an agenda.
Yeah.
That's all. I don't want a discussion,
Okay.
just to add
So
it to.
just email Dr. Hallett and myself.
Okay.
And then we'll
All
go
right,
forward.
thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.
Anybody else for public comment? Seeing none, we'll move forward onto the superintendent's report.
Yes, good evening, everyone. So I'll start with the June 2024 enrollment. This month we are currently at 1,715 students. We're up 4 students from May, which was 1,711. We have seen some growth at our elementary school by 4 students. We lost 1 student at the intermediate school. We also lost 1 student at the CPS at our middle school, and then high school gained 2 students. So that is how that evened out. We, again, have always been hovering over the last several years between about 1,650 and about 1,750. So with that, we will certainly keep that always in our minds as we're moving forward and how we staff and all of that. So we do have a large kindergarten class coming up, so most likely we will follow them through and see how that goes as we welcome them into our school system. So I'd like to give a little bit of information on recruiting and hiring. We have been very busy reviewing applications and interviewing for all of our open positions. Between last month and this month, we started with about 29 open teaching positions. That's been about average over the last few years, a little bit less. But we have been able to hire 10 for those positions already, and most of these are classroom teachers at the elementary and intermediate schools. We do have some excellent candidates coming our way, and interviewing is in full swing at all of our schools. The most difficult positions to hire remain special education with 4 open positions across 3 schools, STEM across all 4 schools, a school psychologist, and the physical therapy. So they tend to be these positions that are really difficult to fill everywhere, not just in our own district, but across the state. So again, we are finding some great candidates. We are very lucky that we have some qualified candidates coming our way. So I believe that the next time I give you a report, you will have a few more. We will have a few more positions filled, which is great. Speaking of hiring, I am very pleased to announce that we have our new Director of Technology, Ms. Stephanie Hoban, in the audience today, and she will be starting with us on July 1st. So welcome, Stephanie. We'll just give you a little bit of background for Stephanie. She comes to us from the Linfield Public Schools, where she served as the Director of Educational Technology for 7 years. Prior to that, she was a digital learning coach in the Lexington Public Schools for 3 years. She was a curriculum coordinator for technology in Acton-Boxborough for 3 years. And prior to that, she taught several years high school English and drama. And that is what she did prior to jumping into her administrative roles. So we are thrilled to welcome her to Nantucket, and we know she'll be a great asset to all of us. Welcome, Stephanie. I also want to take this opportunity to thank from the bottom of my heart Joanne Johnson, who is our acting tech director. Her service in these last 6 months has been so important to us. Joanne stepped right in when we needed her after our previous tech director retired, and she has done a remarkable job at keeping the tech department afloat since December. She has been instrumental in finally getting our network glitches figured out, knock on wood, and she has even hired a new technician, Kevin Serrano, so this has been wonderful to have her in the position. And Joanne, we are incredibly grateful for all that you have done for us and continue to do as Stephanie transitions into the role. And I want to say that it is wonderful to have two very highly qualified people working together, even sitting together out there. So I trust that they will partner very well together and collaborate regularly as we move into a new era of technical education technology. So thank you.
Thank you, Joanne.
So just some very general additional updates, and that is that things are incredibly busy around the school district. We have science MCAS at the high school. MAP testing is occurring at the elementary and intermediate school and middle school as well. Scheduling is happening. We are doing our best with hiring. There is a lot happening. We have field days coming up for NES and NIS, some jump up days scheduled for 2nd grade to 3rd grade, 5th grade to 6th grade, and 8th grade to 9th grade. And we continue to enjoy many of our end-of-year performances and events. There were some great concerts that had happened last week over the weekend, and one coming up on Wednesday, an all-town choral concert. So please enjoy that at 7 o'clock. And we have graduation next Friday. So lots happening. Keep checking your emails. Keep checking your updates, and we love to see you there. So thank you very much. That's it.
Thank you. Yes.
With the, you mentioned that we're in the process of interviewing 10 folks or very pleased in the hiring process with that, but with housing being an issue year over year, have we determined how many of those candidates require housing assistance from the school? Have we started that already?
Those that have been hired have been very lucky and have found some housing for themselves. There are still some that are not yet housed, and of the new people who we are interviewing, most likely most of them will need housing. So we have recently put a plea out through Nantucket Education Trust into the Current, and hopefully also to the Inquirer and Mirror. And I continue to work with Christy Ferrantella in the town to find the appropriate housing. Cow Pond neighborhood is always an opportunity if there are units that open up, but it is quite challenging. So I'm concerned, very concerned about this, but I will continue to push as hard as I can with everyone, and I also suggest that you do the same. So reach out as far as you can to all of your contacts, people that you know. Teachers are wonderful tenants. They are professional and quite easy usually to work with. So I do hope that people will consider it. It is the lifeblood of our island. We need to have our teachers housed. So thank you.
I have a follow-up question.
Sure.
Is there a point person that if there's someone who has housing available for teachers?
Yes. Absolutely. So Melissa Devitt, who is our curriculum director for humanities, and she has decided to take this on, and she's been great working with us, Katie Bedell also, and so Melissa Devitt is the person, and I can say her email if people would be interested. It's Devitt M. Devitt is DEVITTM at npsk.org. Easiest thing to do, if that's unclear, is to send a message to me or to the superintendent's office, and we will get it to her if necessary. So, thank you.
Thank you, Beth.
Sure.
Very nice of Melissa to do that.
Sure.
Okay, moving on to presentations and discussions. I'd like to invite Delena Garcia Sosa to come and join us. Hello. Hi.
My name's Delena Garcia Sosa. I started volunteering with Buray Mitchell 2 years ago, and in the process, working with Val, we found something pretty interesting in our research, and I just wanted to tell you guys everything that we found so far. To give you a little bit of an introduction, here's the anatomy of a bay scallop. We specifically study the gonad. They're hermaphrodites, so they both have the female and the male. And what we found was a parasite in the intestines, and as you can see, the intestines runs through the gonad, so it seemed to have some type of effect on their reproductive system. So about the last day when I was working with Val, Dr. Howe, we found something in the intestines that was not supposed to be there, and it seemed to have some type of membrane around it, and it seemed to be like an actual alive thing. And Val had never seen anything like it before, so we thought it was a parasite. And so she was retiring, and I thought it was really unfair that we weren't going to be able to continue it. So I asked around the school. I talked to my marine science teacher, Kara, and Miss Vassal and everything, and they helped me organize my own independent study to help me continue on Val's research. In the process, I made 3 hypotheses with the information I had at the time, which was, of course, there's a new parasite in the scallop intestines. I considered rises in temperature that may be causing them to survive, and also that combined with the rises in temperature and the presence of the parasites, it causes the eggs to become atresia. And this basically means that the eggs basically die out and they don't work anymore for reproduction. You can see how they're supposed to look and what it looks when they're atresia. I used the method of histology that Val taught me, which was collecting, dissecting, then preparing them for embedding, and then sectioning them and staining and a microscopy. Some pictures. The first one's of me dissecting, second one is collecting, and the last one's trimming the blocks to get ready for sectioning. This is the data I found. We collected 5 scallops from different parts of the harbor, and I counted how many had the parasite and how many didn't have anything wrong with them, and then I calculated the average of them and the percentage of parasites that were out of all the scallops that I collected. Here's a little graph. As you can see, the only one that had not as many parasites as the rest was First Bend inshore, which had a slightly higher temperature than the rest of the sites. And out of all of the data I collected, I concluded that the only hypothesis I got correct was the first one. Even though the parasite's present, it doesn't seem like the rises in temperature really affected, as you can see. And the specimen we collected were too young to be able to determine whether the eggs were atresia or not, so I kind of crossed that off the list. Some ways to collect better results, more accurate ones, was get a better sample size, collect scallops no matter how old they are, and study the digestive tract itself instead of the gonad in the sexual reproductive system. How can you help? 2 discussion questions that you guys can talk about is how this can affect the scalloping industry, because as we all know, scalloping is very important for Nantucket's economy and overall the culinary industry around the world. Nantucket-based scallops are pretty popular. And overall, what's the real effect of the parasite, not just on the scallop, but the environment itself. Scallops are filter feeders, so they basically clean out the water and the harbor themselves when they eat. And I wanted to present an idea for Nantucket High School to work together with Mariah Mitchell and Egan Maritime, if possible, to create a program for students that are interested in marine biology, marine science, and any type of life science to help me and everyone else involved to continue my research and help solve everything. Program could be in the fall. I can help and teach all the students that would be participating in the process since, Val's retired. And it could motivate a lot of students to follow their dreams. I've wanted to be a marine biologist since 3rd grade, and the fact that I got this amazing opportunity helped motivate me so much and helped me believe that it was actually possible for me to do this and get my career. And it can also just spread awareness around the environment themselves, how the harbor's doing, and how the whole island can be affected by this. Some special thanks. Dr. Valhau, she's in the audience. Jordan Bond, who helped me, who drove me to the lab and to the hatchery, and if it wasn't for him, I wouldn't get a ride anywhere. The hatchery and Tara Riley, the leader, they helped me with microscopy, and I would go over there, use their microscope, and they helped me with collections. Janelle Gurley and Mariah Mitchell, I used their lab, and they were overall a great help. Mandy Bassel, I hope you don't mind calling you Mandy. She supported me a lot, and she helped me organize everything, and she allowed me to take class time and time out of my school day to go to the lab and help. Kara, my marine science teacher, who started basically all of this and talked to everyone and helped me organize everything. And lastly, Heather McDonald, my bio teacher, taught me honors bio, and now she's my AP bio teacher. She's amazing, like probably my favorite teacher I've ever had, and that's it.
Great. Thank you. I'd like to just see if the committee has any questions
Yes,
or
of
comments
course.
for you.
Yeah.
Tim?
I think that's wonderful.
Thank you.
I worked in a lab with human tissue, but doing the same things you were doing, and it's very interesting stuff. And I think that's amazing.
Thank
it's really
you very
good.
much. Thank you very much. Any other questions?
Chantel?
What year are you in school?
I'm a sophomore,
You're so, okay,
incoming
good.
junior.
Okay. Just making sure you still have time to continue.
Yes, of course. I really hope I do. Anything else?
Esmeralda?
No questions, just great presentation.
Thank you very much.
Laura?
I echo Esmeralda's comments. You're so poised. This was really interesting, and I agree with Dr. Lepre. It is a wonderful program, and I would love to see this continue.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Thank you for the opportunity to present everything to you guys. If there's anything
Well, I
else.
just wanted to just say I'm so glad that you have an opportunity to work with Dr. Hall before she completely retires, because she has been a gem in our community for years, and her passion for educating and passing on her knowledge to the next generation has been something she's done for a long time. And I am so impressed by you. As Laura said, you're so poised, and thank you for making a scientific report one that I could understand.
To be honest, the whole thing, it brought me a lot more questions than answers. I didn't really was able to discover as much, but I did find out at least a little bit more. So
I think Dr. Hallett has a
I do.
comment.
First of all, I'm so proud that you were able to do something like this. It's such a special thing. When I was a child, I wanted to be a marine biologist myself. That was what do you want to be when you grow up? It was marine biologist. I never got there, but that's okay. 2 questions, technical questions. Do you know if this parasite is a new species, or is it a species that exists already?
as of right now, me and Val believe that it is a completely new species. We went, she's never seen anything like it before, and we looked across articles about all different types of shellfish parasites, and we didn't find anything that looked like it. Or maybe it looked like it, but it wasn't specifically in the digestive tract. So as of right now, it seems like something completely new.
Wow, that sounds like possible naming rights. That's pretty cool. That's amazing. So I won't even ask, but I imagine this might be a next step for study, is wondering if it has any effect on humans.
Yeah, definitely,
Yeah.
especially because people love eating them.
Of course. And then my last question, or not question, but statement is, I would love to support a program. Perhaps it's an independent study, and I'm happy to work with Ms. Bassel to see if we can promote this and continue this for you and for other students who might be interested. We have such a resource at our fingertips with not only with Mariah Mitchell and Linda Loring and our other science organizations here on the island, but with the opportunities that we have through the rich environmental ecology opportunities we have right here. So I would love to see this continue. So hopefully we can talk about that soon.
Thank you very much. I know a lot of students myself, like personally, that are extremely interested and want to be like shark researchers, coral reef restorative like scientists. So that'd be great.
Thank you.
Thank you so
Thank you.
much
Well
for the
done. Thank you.
presentation.
Thank you very much.
So at this point, I'd like to ask Joanne Johnson to come up, please, and provide your technology update.
Hello, everybody. Thank you for having me. And I'm going to present the last 6 months of technology. The first part of the year was very well documented in December by Jen Erickson, so I don't feel the need to go back over all of that stuff. But there have been a few things that have gone on since then, and I think that they would be best characterized by 2 words: wireless and staffing. So, if we the tech department, are fully staffed, we have a director and 6 staff members. In the first part of this year, we were short 1 staff member who was out on medical leave. And so Jen took the opportunity to prepare for both her departure and for, we don't know how long this person would be out, by hiring 2 interns. So at that point in time, we had a director, 5 staff members, and 2 interns. So this is 6 months at a glance. In November, we had pretty much a full team. We still had somebody out on leave, but we had 2 interns making up for that person, and we were doing okay as far as staffing. But wireless in our network has been a problem for a very long time. It started when we got our first, when we got our new controller that replaced the old one we had, which worked flawlessly for 10 years. And then the pandemic got in the way of our troubleshooting what the problem was. We actually sent that controller back. We got another one thinking it was a hardware problem. It wasn't a hardware problem. And so we were troubleshooting that, and then we all went out on pandemic, and so there's no troubleshooting it because we discovered pretty early on that it was a load-based problem. So if there's no load on the network, we couldn't troubleshoot it. So we were out of the building for a year and a half, or however long it was, for pandemic, and when we came back, we started having the problems, and we started troubleshooting it, trying to figure out what was going on. And then a year plus ago, we got hit with a cyber attack, which brought down the entire network again, and pretty much had us starting from scratch. Because when we recovered from that, we had to build our network completely from scratch. The pandemic, coupled with the cyber attack, made us focus our attention on connecting people to the internet using a wireless technology. We didn't have the physical infrastructure to put people on the wire at that point in time, and to get people on so they could work, it was wireless. The problem is that we had this wireless problem, and putting more people in wireless exacerbated the problem. So we were, this fall and forward, really struggling with getting this fixed. In November, Jen unexpectedly had to go out on leave, and so at that point in time, we were down 1 person. We still had our 2 interns, so it's okay, and we started looking for somebody to replace her. That search was not successful, and so we went to Plan B, and that's when I took over the duties of the tech director. My regular job is database administrator and network operations, so I did those things, and then the rest of us sort of like juggled things to make it all work. In January, we lost one of our interns, which brought our staffing down again. We were having tremendous wireless problems. There were times when only 50% of the people in a classroom could get on. And it was, paper and pencil was starting to look really good. We really, really had a significant problem. Again, it was load-based. We would try all kinds of things. We threw everything at it. And in February, we then lost a building tech. So that brought us down. One of our regular staff members left, and so we were down another person. In January, it was access testing time. And to get the access testing to work, we asked the gen ed teachers to limit their wireless connectivity early in the morning so that we could give the traffic time to the testing people. And then we segregated the space that they were doing their testing away from the rest of the network so we could struggle through that particular piece of it. In February, it was horrible. It was so bad that people would be able to connect for 10 minutes in one room, and then they would go down, or a student would connect in one room and walk down the hall, and they wouldn't be able to connect again. And at this point in time, I had 3 different consultants and a Cisco team working on our wireless problem. I have to give kudos to the administration for not, what's the word I want? They didn't refuse me any resource. Anything that I needed to try to fix this problem was at my disposal. And in March, we finally found the one technician from Cisco who dealt with the one piece of equipment with the one line that had to be changed in order to get this work. And it was like overnight. I had a Google form where I let teachers tell me how their wireless was doing. And for the 2 months before, it was like, it's horrible, like, nobody can connect, just things like that. And then overnight on that week, it's like the sun came out and the clouds parted. We actually had wireless connection. So we also had a staffing plateau. We were able to hire our last intern as a regular employee to replace the one who left. And we were able to go forward. MCAS happened in March, and there were no problems wireless-wise. And it was such a relief to me, and I'm sure it was to all of the staff, that we were able to get through MCAS without a hitch. In April, the staff member that had been out on leave came back full-time, so our staffing went up. And that continued for April, May, and June. And in April, we started doing a search for the new tech director, and that was successful, and now we have a new tech director. And so I'm happy to say that when New Year starts on July 1st, we will be back up to our full capacity. We will have all of our staff, our network is working, and life is good. So the tech team, when we are in our normal phase, is comprised of me, database administrator, network operations, and I was doing the interim tech director piece during this time. Dave Evans, who is building support at NES. Jason Campisi, who is building support at CPS. Kevin Serrano, who is building support at NIS. Jaime Sarabia, who is building support at NHS. And Morgan Smith-Jones, who is technology integration for the district. But in addition to those things, in addition to the basic job that all of us have to do, all of these other things were added to everybody's plate. I started doing staff management, finance, and purchasing. Dave Evans became the networking guru. He helped wire a bunch of desktops in offices when we were still troubleshooting our network, because it's a wireless problem, remember? And so if we could get people on a wired network, they weren't having this issue. So he would put new wiring, and we got new switches, and we connected all of these things together so that people in the front offices could work. It didn't help the teachers, unfortunately, or the students, but it did help the front office. And he became the support person for the cameras and the clocks. At one point, he had to go around to every clock in NES and reconfigure it because of the way the network was changed. He is in charge of Mosel, which is our iPad synchronization tool. He is auditorium support and a member of the emergency management team. Jason Campisi has taken on duties in addition to supporting the staff at CPS. He is wireless support and monitoring, security monitoring, database syncs, MCAS support, inventory maintenance, and phone system support. Kevin Serrano, our brand new employee, he is only just recently graduated. He was the class of 2023, and we snatched him up before he had a chance to even go to college. We'll think about letting him go next year. But he's been great at NIS, and he's been taking on the duties of that school and helping them. And then we have Jaime Sarabia, who is at the high school. He has taken on all of the hardware for CPS and the student support for CPS. He has also implemented a school to career course in network infrastructure. So he teaches wiring and soldering and repairs and things like that to students as a class. And Morgan Smith-Jones has taken on our tech dispatching, biweekly newsletters, clever support, and app integration. So a lot of these jobs were either the job of our tech person who left, or were jobs that I divvied out from my job to to make time for the things that I had to do in management. But I have to say that the team stepped up gloriously. They've done a great job. I think that we are a well-run machine, and I think that we are well set for the future, and I think Stephanie has got a good team to work with. So since December, the things that we have done is we resolved our wireless problem. Oh my God, you have no idea how happy that makes me. We had a staff transition at NIS. We installed a bunch of new line panels that were purchased prior to December and were installed around December break. And we repurposed the smart boards down at NES for those classrooms that needed or some kind of better smart board than they already had. We increased communication so that our newsletter is now biweekly, and it's also in S'more, so the formatting is a little easier to read. We implemented a new process for requesting apps so that we go through the security process first before putting something out there, and then we make sure that curriculum supports the app so that we aren't getting multiple apps doing the same thing in multiple different schools. We need to have a more holistic view of our apps, and this procedure helps to do that. We have the School to Career course at NHS. We have staff training for current and future transitions, so making sure that staff can do the new tasks that they have been given. We unexpectedly recouped $119,000 from the ECF funds. That was lovely. We have joint projects with facilities, including Raptor, the new lovely cameras, and the Fieldhouse Internet, which I'm sure that Chip will go into in detail. And we've done a lot of rewiring. We have cameras where we didn't have cameras before. We have blind spots that are no longer blind. And I have to say that Dave has gone above and beyond in the wiring department, making things show up where they need to show up. And he and Demo made a very large hole in the side of CPS to get a camera where it needed to go, and then they had to patch it all up, but they did a great job. We are going to refresh the Mac lab in a couple of years, but we have an ongoing problem with storage in that lab, and so we found a way to put an external hard drive on those machines so that we can carry on with those pieces of equipment until they're ready for total refresh. And then finally, we have coming up this month, penetration test and vulnerability scan. This week or next week, I expect to be talking to those companies, and they will be assessing our posture to see whether or not we are exposed or not, and if so, what we do to rectify that. This is a slide that was in Jen's presentation in December. We did not purchase any new pieces of equipment, so I didn't change it. That is what it is. And this was also in Jen's presentation. This budget was, well thought out and presented by her at that time, and it will be for Stephanie to make a determination if we'll go forward with this budget or something different. Looking ahead, we have the enhancement of our educational technology program, which is the new initiative that Stephanie is here to spearhead. And then whatever new tech director initiatives that she has in her bag of tricks, we'll be doing whatever that is. We'll be expanding cybersecurity training. We will be looking into more robust cybersecurity tools and support. We'll be rolling out EdPlan, which is the special ed software for IEPs. We'll be rolling out Raptor, which is the software that checks people in at the front door and does Corey tests as soon as you scan their licenses. But it also does reunification in the event that we have to leave the building unexpectedly to get people back where they need to be back. And we will be doing some network equipment replacements. We'll be recycling some old inventory. And hopefully, in the not too distant future, I know the budget for this coming up year is pretty well set, but we would like to include a cybersecurity person whose job it is to make sure that we are secure in our network. And that's what I have for you.
That's it, Joanne? Thank you.
I hardly did anything of it.
I'm exhausted just hearing you. Tim, questions,
Well,
comments?
Thank you very much for stepping up.
Yeah.
And it was a great presentation. I actually understood it.
Well, good. That's encouraging.
Chantal?
Just grateful that you were willing to step into a well-needed role for the time that you did, and clearly led the team very successfully. So thank you, and thanks for figuring out our connection issues.
I felt so bad for you guys.
Yeah, you rock star. Thank you so much.
Esmeralda?
I have no questions. I'm just going to ditto what she said.
Laura?
Yes, thank you, Joanne. I agree, and I cannot imagine the stress, and I know what it was like for you going through all of this. So we are so grateful to you. So thank you.
Thanks.
I completely agree with comments made. The question I do have for you is the School to Career, is that the Nantuckies?
No.
No. Do you
No, the
still have
Nantucket
those?
program are students who come in during their advisory and they learn how to fix Chromebooks or whatever pieces of equipment that need to be fixed. The School to Career program is actually a course, and they learn things and they get graded on those things. So
Okay.
it's going to be like soldering motherboards or something more advanced than just fixing a Chromebook over and over and over
Mhm.
again.
That's great. Will you be working with your Nantuckies again this summer, do you think?
I
or-
have already talked to two of them. We'll be hiring two of the original Nantuckies that we had, so they'll be coming in, and then we have a third person that will be helping Katie Bedell on a project that she's got going on. So we've got three
That's
technical
excellent.
people coming in this summer.
That's wonderful.
Yeah.
Well, thank you again for your leadership and your dedication and for getting us through what was
Yeah.
a very, very difficult time. So thank you.
You're welcome. All right, thank you. Is this NET next?
Okay, we are going to ask Hadley Dutra and Meg Browers, please, to come up for Nantucket Education Trust.
Good evening. My name is Hadley Dutra. I'm the president of the Nantucket Education Trust. We very much appreciate being here tonight. We're trying to do more outreach in the community so that people know who we are. At the end of this presentation, I'm going to come back to the podium and talk about and just introduce the 9 members of our board. As I look around the room, I see current members of our board and past members of our board. And I think it's important as we look ahead to the future to recognize where we came from. So I'm going to briefly paraphrase the historical piece of NET for you and look at some things that we've done over the years. NET was founded in 1992, so we're over 30 years old. The nonprofit was formed as a 501c3 nonprofit in order to help public schools, to Nantucket Public Schools, with the primary purpose of supplementing the school budget. So teachers need extra books, we need extra funding for programs, we need extra funding for, that NET was called on to provide that. And that still continues to be our mission. When, in the early 2000s, Nantucket entered a housing crisis similar to the one we are faced with today, where a large number of teachers in 1 year left the island due to a lack of housing. And some very forward-thinking people in our community, one of whom is Dr. Lepre, who's sitting here tonight, got together and decided to do something about that. And what they did is they collaborated with the town of Nantucket and made what is now Cow Pond Lane. The town of Nantucket leased that property to NET and for $1 for 100 years, I believe. And NET constructed the units that you see there today, which are 12 units in an array of 1, 2, and 3 bedroom apartments that are leased out to NPS teachers and staff. We, of course, and you'll see here, I dug up a news story featuring the groundbreaking ceremony that took place for Cow Pond Lane that took place on May 25th, 2004. In that picture is Dr. Lepre and Nina Murray. And we have them to thank for sort of creating the foundation for what we are today. And it goes without saying that we are in need of another Cow Pond Lane currently. So in addition to that, we do a number of grants and scholarships and programs. We have a signature program that Alicia Graziade, who's standing up here, is going to talk about. We have other housing initiatives that Meg Browers is here to talk about tonight. I would be remiss if I didn't talk about our financial health. We have a board member, John Riccio, who has given tireless amounts of hours to our board. He has put us in a position of fiscal strength. We are doing very well with our investitures, and he handles all of the leases for our tenants. He works tirelessly with our caretaker on the maintenance and the upkeep of our property. I know he's tuning in tonight. Thank you, John. And I turn it over now to Meg Browers to talk about the housing component.
Thanks for having us tonight. We definitely wanted to get the word out a little bit about who NET is and what we do. And for anyone who's not aware, we do lease the land for the, as Hadley mentioned, for the Cow Pond Lane units. There's 12 units there. They're all filled at the moment by NPS staff, with the exception of our caretaker. We built out one of the units to provide a secondary unit. We have done a bunch of landscaping, installed trees. We have a new HVAC system, so we've been trying really hard to keep it up. That being said, we're very aware that the need for housing for NPS staff far exceeds what we can offer. The units are filled, and our wait list is upwards of probably 30 people. So that means that the unfortunate message to staff right now is that we do run this housing unit, but we don't have openings at the moment. That being said, we're really excited because we're currently conducting a feasibility study on the opportunity to build a second batch of units in the Cow Pond area. So that's obviously something that's going to take a matter of time. And with that timeline in mind, we're pursuing other avenues for ways to support the school system to find teacher housing, whether it be running ads for housing, or there's a couple other tools in our toolbox that we're thinking about utilizing. We can't build 16 units overnight, but we can definitely try to help in any way that we can. So what everyone here can do is see that ad we had placed in the Current and share it on your social media with all your friends and networks. That would be really fantastic.
Good, great. I get to talk about the fun part, which is giving away money. So this year alone, we have already given out $17,597 in grants, and we provide this money to support our island students, public school students. So we've worked really hard, Meg and I specifically, and John, to create a communications committee. We redesigned the website. We've streamlined the application process. So teachers, if you're hearing this tonight, you can go right onto our website and you can submit for a grant. And then as a board, we go through all of these grants and we put forth our submissions. Typically, at least through this year alone, we've awarded to all 4 of the public schools and as well as the community school. In past years, we've also awarded money to island nonprofits that also support our public school students. Prime example is the Dreamland. I see Sassy here tonight, Laura over here too. They brought down an amazing Shakespeare company last year and this year as well, and NET was able to provide some funding for that. So just a couple of the grants that we've given out this year. So NET helped support the purchase of solar eclipse glasses for a lot of our public school students and teachers this year. And we had an amazing viewing party in partnership with Mariah Mitchell, which was wonderful. And you can see a couple of our kindergartners here looking up with their snazzy new glasses. We also support the Camp Borndale trip, which is the 5th grade trip in NIS that they take annually now. And this year we were able to provide $6,000. So that's in addition to all of those oranges and grapefruits that they sell. NET has also, over many, many years, supported the Nantucket Community School Summer Boost Kindergarten Readiness Program. This year, they provided $5,000 to support the cost of 2 classrooms with 30 students. Typically, that's about 25% of the incoming kindergarten class that have not had prior preschooling. And this year, we also provided $1,600 to some of our music students to go to the All Cape Music Festival. And as Hadley mentioned earlier, Our signature program is called Journey Across the Sound, and for the last few years we've partnered with our house and the guidance department to allow our high school students to visit college campuses. For the last few years, it's been primarily sophomores, and now we've expanded to juniors and seniors as well. So we'll continue to support that program. This year, we were able to provide over $4,000 to help these trips continue on, but $18,000 since the inception. Am I doing this one? Okay. As mentioned, we have a new website. We have a social media presence that Meg has been overseeing, which has been really helpful. And, you know, we're trying to continue just getting the word out there. We love supporting our students. We love supporting the public schools. We want people to apply for the grant money that we have to offer. So please spread the word there. And right now, the easiest way to do that is to just jump on that website, fill out the form. The housing form is also on the website. It's an interest form where we do put together a spreadsheet of all the teachers and faculty that need housing, and then work with Melissa Devitt, as Beth mentioned earlier, to, you know, hopefully find matches for people. And follow us on Instagram, because Meg is doing a fantastic job there too.
Thank you, Alicia. Thank you, Meg. We are trying to do more community outreach because a lot of people don't know what we do, and I think it's because we do a lot of different things. It's confusing. So we do give out grants and scholarships, and we also manage and maintain teacher housing. Recently, as Meg mentioned, per her suggestion, we have funded an ad that you see before you, Teacher Housing Needed, that is presently on the Nantucket Current. We're hoping as many people can see that as possible who might have housing available for either year-round, seasonal, you know, or 10-month, for example. There's lots of different situations out there where people can accommodate someone to live, and so we want people to reach out to, sorry, the woman's first name is Melissa. Thank you. Melissa, who is going to sort of pair the tenants with the people who might have housing. We think that's a great initiative. Also, in order to, for the board to sort of get to know our residents, this Thursday we're doing a meet and greet at Cow Pond Lane. Rocky Fox is a board member, and he has organized this entire event. He's bringing in Stick Snack Truck and had the beverages donated. I think there might be music there, if I know Rocky. So from 5 to 7 on Thursday, we're going to be meeting with our tenants and just having a little bit of a meet and greet. Finally, we are in our 32nd year. Our board members, NUT is comprised, like I said, of 9 incredible people. Each one of the 9 members of our board serves on a committee. And those committees are programs, grants, and scholarships, communications, finance, housing, and development. People on this board work very long hours. They're dedicated. We have a monthly meeting, and then everyone gets together on the committees. Other than that meeting, we have people who care, working for the school. I hope all of you will reach out to us if you ever have any ideas about NET and how we can further our cause. As I said, I'm the president. Beth Hallett is currently our vice president. Alicia Graziade is our clerk. John Riccio is our treasurer. Meg Browers is our assistant clerk. Rocky Fox, Laura Gallagher Byrne is our school committee liaison. We have Marie Lemberg and Martin Agaloo, who is our serves in the capacity of really helping John organize all of our finances, and he's also an incredible member of our board. Thank you, Martin. Thank you for having us tonight. We appreciate your time. I can take any questions that you might have.
Yep, I'd love to do that. Tim?
It was a rocky start. And a little known fact, the Educational Trust spent $100,000 to support a investigation of stain in the soil that turned out to be an Indian longhouse. The Educational Trust did not get credit when that story of that was published. And I went up to the person that wrote it and told her that I did not really appreciate that, because the Educational Trust came through. Probably could have covered it up, but it contributed to
This is when the units were initially built?
Yes.
Okay.
And there was a stain in the soil, and it's where the house was. And it's public archaeology out of Rhode Island. So
Okay.
they came out, investigated it, wrote a paper, covered it up, and didn't give us credit.
That's a shame. Well, we're going to need to reach out to have a survey done with the next land that we're looking at building on. So hopefully that goes more smoothly. But it's nice to know that people are in the community who have a history and how these things work.
Chantal?
So if I understand correctly, Education Trust is a completely separate nonprofit?
That's correct.
Yeah, okay, that's great. So you're not subject to the same procurement process as the
Exactly.
town.
Yeah.
That is
Good point.
so helpful.
Yes.
Esmeralda?
No questions. Just thank you for all the help.
Thank you.
Laura?
I don't have any questions. I am just honored to serve on this board, and it is, there's so much forward motion, and I'm delighted to be a part of it, so.
Thanks, Laura.
thank
We're
you.
delighted to have you.
Thank you.
I have a question. Has any conversations happened between NET and Friends of Nantucket Public Schools?
It's a good question, because we have a purpose that sort of aligns. Yes, is the short answer.
Okay.
There's been some changes with the Friends of Nantucket Public Schools.
Yeah.
I do believe that they fill a need that NET isn't filling right now. However, as many boards are struggling on the island, I mean, I think theirs has been subject to the same kind of struggles that others are, which is that they don't have enough parent volunteers. I have spoken to several women who still serve on that board, and I think it's an important one. So we're continuing those conversations.
Great. Thank you. Thank
Thank
you
you
all
very
for
much.
coming tonight.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good night tonight. All right. I would like to ask Mr. Chip Clooney to come join us, please, for the facilities update.
Hello, everyone.
Hey, Chip.
I'd like to echo all the accolades that Joanne's gotten. And I think she left off the patience to deal with me as I magoo my way through all the computer stuff, and she has been great all the way through it. Thank you. I'm going to go through these and talk a little bit about each point. As I complete my first year as the Director of Facilities, I think it's important to thank the team that really gets the work done. Michelle Kremer in the office, Dimo Boychev, Barry Melu, Alita Tejada, Jorge Vivas, and Joe Perry on the grounds. They make up an excellent unit, and my role is to get them what they need and then get out of their way. The custodian floater, that's a new position that we made. We are fully staffed, but we have oftentimes are shorthanded. This floater is a new position. He rotates through the district and goes to where he's needed in every school and every place. So it's worked out really well. We're really happy with it. We've switched elevator maintenance companies. We're very happy with Associated Elevator. We have had issues, but things are going well. We've installed a new time clock, which is actually a retinal scan, which has been great. It's been a big help for tracking hours and accruals and all that stuff. So it's been a good thing. Michelle Kramer has started a quarterly newsletter, which we think is hilarious. I don't know if anybody else is
Yes.
reading it. Currently, we're negotiating with the custodial contracts. Here I am magooing. With the custodial contracts and things are going well. The wind turbine has had its regular maintenance. It is ready to go. They're looking to come back this summer return trip. One of the things that they mentioned was painting. So if you see somebody dangling with a rollerblade from the top of the turbine, everything's fine. It's supposed to be that way. The annual town meeting. Thanks to all our guys in high school, Francisco, Darius, and Demo. They make it look easy, but it is not. It's anything but. For pool upgrades, we've added a new window, and we've done upgrades to the pool office. We have seen a decrease in vandalism, which I'm happy to report. A little nervous to report it because I'll jinx myself and things will go around. We've upgraded the AC. We've added mini splits to the CPS and throughout the district and the high school. That's been a big help. We've made the repairs needed at the intermediate school, so we're ready for this summer. Everything should be fine. Did I skip one? As Joanne touched upon, we've been looking with the cameras, a new camera company. We've installed 9 new cameras. The reaction from the assistant principals has been very positive. They really love them, and it makes a big difference. It's a big upgrade for us, and we're excited about it. We're also looking at Panic hardware, which is for lockdowns, those of you. A new lock system that is very easy to use for infrastructurally wise. It's a very uninvasive. Simply goes on the door jamb, very easy to use and easy to install. We've had regular meetings with the first responders, with the fire department, the police department. We have one coming up at the end of this month. 24 Surfside, we have the design bid package out. We're going to open that up on July 12th. Those bids are due just for the design package, and we're moving forward with that. This summer, we're looking at exterior painting of the windows around the pool area in the front of the school. You'll notice now that they're sort of faded and they're bronzy color. We're going to get them back to green. We're doing our field repairs and field maintenance. We have a new HVAC contract that's going to be on the 1st of July. We're going to open that up this week. 13 new copiers are being swapped out. That is a bigger ordeal than you might think. And we are checking our handicap accessibility equipment and make sure we're in compliance. Every Monday, we have a staff member go around and check all the doors and make sure everything's working well. And if it's not, we get it fixed up. And we have another special town meeting coming in September, so everybody can look forward to that. One last note, Maximo Tejada is retiring at the end of June. He has been with the district for over 20 years, and he's been a big part of our family. He is currently a nighttime supervisor at NIS, and I want to thank Maximo and wish him all the best of luck in retirement. And that's all I got.
Thank you, Chip. Tim?
No questions.
No questions, okay. Thank you. Chantal?
I don't have any questions either,
Esmeralda?
No questions, and you're doing a great job.
Thank you.
Laura?
I don't have any questions either, but I thoroughly enjoyed the quarterly update. It gave me a chuckle, and I look forward to the next one.
Chip, you're not getting off that easy. You know, I always have a question. I hear from kids sometimes when I ask about announcements that are made in the high school specifically, that they don't hear them. Is that in line to improve? And I thought about it just when you were talking about lockdown.
Right.
I would think that would be a key piece to know that intercom is heard in all of the rooms.
Right, and not to throw this right at Joanne, but we worked together on that, and she's been great, and we've worked with Brian Potter, and we're always upgrading those systems, and it seems like there's always things that fade in and out as we do these drills, and that's why we drill, and we figure out what's going on, but we're always upgrading, and we're always working on making everything working as best we can.
So what I hear you say is that the students may not tell me the truth when they're listening to the advisory announcements. No,
I
I'm
would
just
never
joking.
say that. I would never say that.
Thank you so much, Chip. All right. moving on to our committees, votes to be taken. I've covered everything. Did we want Chip to go over the year-end usage? We have it in our packet. Would you like to have him come back? No. I don't think, no, we're not subjected. We're all good. Thank you.
I think we're good.
Thank you,
We
Chip.
read it.
I could go on for about an hour.
That's what we heard. That's why we decided we'll just read it. Thank you. All right. Before us tonight, we are going to take a vote on the April 26th Diversity Subcommittee meeting minutes. May I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
May I have a second? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you. May I have a motion for the vote to, as a no, to the selection of school choice participation for the academic year 2024 to 2025, which is in response to our policy JFBB. May I have a motion to accept as a no vote?
So moved.
Bridget? May I have a second? Okay, I'm looking at the confusion, so let's have a discussion, or you have a question?
Yes, yeah.
So I'm going to let Dr. Hallett explain.
Yes. So school choice is for districts that have more than one school in their grade bands. So 2 elementary schools, 2 middle schools, 2 high schools. We do not. So we have one school for pre-K to 2, one school for K to 5, 3 to 5, one for middle school, and one for high school. So we don't have any other schools for our students to go to in the public school group. So no is the vote that we must do because we don't have any other schools for them to choose. So
It seems odd.
I know, it does.
Yeah.
I know we discussed this too. I am on the policy committee. But just in hearing it now, so so the private schools would not be
Not
part of
included,
that. Okay. Thank you for that clarification.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Okay, thank you. May I have an approval for the teaching assistant collective bargaining agreement that is from 2024 to 2027?
So moved.
May I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, and thank you for everybody for the meetings on getting that through. Vote to approve the appointment of school committee clerk Katie Bedell. May I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
May I have a second? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Aye. Thank you, Katie. Vote to approve the donation from the Jean F. and David G. Nathan Fund to NCS pool programs for $250.
Move approval.
May I have a second? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. May I have an approval, please, for the donation from the Nantucket Education Trust to NCS Dad's Kids Playgroup for $1,480. May I have a
Second.
second? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you, Nat. Vote to approve the donation from the Nantucket Cultural Council to NCS Early Childhood Program Little Art Explorers for $1,080. May I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you. Note that Chantal did recuse on that vote, please. Vote to approve the donation from the Nantucket Cultural Council to the NCS Irish Step Dance Program for $4,995.
So,
May I have a second?
second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Recused again for Chantal, thank you. Vote to approve the donation from the Nantucket Cultural Council to the NCS Early Childhood Program Little History Explorers for $615.
Move approval.
May I have a second? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. And recused again on that. Thank you. Vote to approve the donation from the Community Foundation for Nantucket to NCS Programming for $21,853.
Move approval.
May I have a second? All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. For transfers and invoices, may I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
May I have a
Second.
second? Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Very good. Well done, Community School, and thank you for everybody for your amazing support and generosity. It's always a mouthful to get through, but I'll tell you how fortunate are we to have such support in our
Yes,
community.
indeed.
Moving on to subcommittees. Any reports?
Negotiations are going well with buildings and grounds.
Great.
Excellent.
I'm happy to hear that. Anyone else have any?
We have meetings on the horizon next week, but nothing to report right now.
And you did see the email that I put forth, putting Esmeralda's name in for the lunch group, because Esmeralda will be joining that group.
Great.
So, sorry, I wish we could
Welcome.
have 3 of us, because I would like to continue on, but I'll read the minutes. But I'm coming to lunch when you guys go to lunch.
Excellent.
Thank you. Okay, so now we don't have Bruna here. So the agenda for the next meeting, which is June 18th, graduation, end of year celebration, that will be Mandy, no doubt. The MAP end of year data presentation and an athletics update. We've got some exciting things going on with athletics, huh?
Yes, we do. Yes, we do. For those who are not aware, our lacrosse teams are moving. Boys and girls varsity lacrosse are moving forward in the tournament. I believe they're in the round of 16 now. The boys lacrosse team is the number 1 seed, and the girls lacrosse. I cannot say that word.
Easy for you to say.
Lacrosse team is the number 2 seed. Our girls tennis is also moving forward, and we're very excited to support our students.
It's terrific. And the boys tennis did very well. I know they're not in it now, but they had a great season.
They absolutely did, yes.
We have some great athletic programs.
If I may through the chair, how old is the tennis program? Because that's a fairly new program. 10 years?
We did have a tennis program prior, but I don't know how well attended it was. I'm not sure how competitive it was. This predates me, so I'm not sure exactly. But the new program that has been in place since I've been here has really flown. So we're very excited. Yes.
Yeah, it is pretty new. All right, any other comments, discussion? No?
Just that I enjoyed Travis Lombardi's emails. I appreciate it.
It's great that he keeps us up to
Yeah.
date with that. That's really, I agree. It's appreciated. May I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
May I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, everybody. You and I have to sign this.
Yes.
A little
Very
research.
glad to sign that.